All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Save Point Vids podcast.
My name is
Sorry. Where we get together with you every single week and talk about what we've been playing as well as the biggest news stories of the week. As always, I'm Josh, and I've got my co-host Sean and Chase here. How you guys doing?
Good.
We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, Fable 4, Resident Evil 3 Remake, as well as some smaller stories. So let's jump right in with Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Did you guys see this?
No.
So yesterday, Square, they released a batch of new screenshots, kind of going over like some concept art, like the outside of Ares' house, the church in Sector 5, some more shots of the battle, like the battle system, the menu screens, things like that. But in an interview, Tetsuya Nomura, obviously the director of this one and the original, says that they've already begun working on Part 2. Really, the reason I brought this up is obviously we're very excited about it, but what do you... And he doesn't specify whether it's like in pre-production, if they're already in full development for Part 2, but knowing that Part 1 ends at the end of Midgar, what are your theories on...
Does it end at Midgar?
Mm-hmm.
It does?
Yeah. So Part 1 is the end of Part 1 is the end of Midgar, when you're leaving Midgar. What do you guys theorize, or what do you hope to see in the next installment? Do you where's the cutoff point? What do you expect to see included?
Okay.
I feel like I'm 90% sure the cutoff point will be at the end of Disc 1.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I'm thinking is Temple of the Ancients.
And then, depending how many parts they want to do, if they want to do 3 parts, I think 3 parts would be perfect because you could just do Disc 2 and Disc 3 all together, since Disc 3 originally was just the final
Right.
area.
So you think we'll finish out, we'll go through obviously Cosmo Canyon, Gold Saucer, everything all the way up to the end of Disc 1.
Yeah, they can't keep going with just one area per game.
The
game would it wouldn't end in another 40 years.
Next game's Calm.
Yeah, it's just Calm, and then the Chocobo Farm, and then the caves.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think that makes the most sense. Again, I don't know. Obviously, there's no release window even talked about. He doesn't specify whether it's in, pre-production or full production.
I will say I hope it's in pre-production. Just because, if there's any, wrinkles that need to be ironed out.
Right.
Or complaints about the first one, they're not too far into, development.
Right.
To really, work out that stuff. So hopefully they're not too far into it to where the feedback that they get on Part 1 can't be really implemented into Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
At least right off the bat.
That makes sense. So kind of going on further, story and scenario writer Kazushige Nojima expressed a combined worry and excitement for how the game's newfound good looks will change how original characters perceived it. So he goes on, his quote is, "The original game used cartoon-like stylized art, and the story was completed by players using their imagination to supplement portions that couldn't be depicted as a result. Even if they were seeing the same scene, the information they took away from it and how they interpreted it differed depending on the viewer. Perhaps it's what might be considered a narrative form of storytelling nowadays." He goes on to say, in Final Fantasy VII Remake, there will be much less room for player imagination. This fact will probably change the feel of the story considerably. People who know the original might not know quite how to take it. Such is the fear that I have, but I also have conviction it should be possible to feel a much deeper connection to Cloud as you join alongside him. So kind of going off of that, that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
The graphics are more realistic. They're able to portray everything.
More subtle stuff they can portray easier.
So, and then kind of the last part of the story is co-director of the scenario design, Motomu Toriyama, Also confirms a much-asked question, the scene in which Cloud dresses up to get into the Honeybee Inn. He says, quote, "When remaking the Honeybee Inn at the Wall Market, we revived it as a pantheon of entertainment which couldn't be realized back then. Here, the scene that many of you have been eager to see where Cloud disguises himself in joy." So, obviously, that reconfirms everything.
That it's in the game.
That
which
it
is
in
good.
the game. So, I mean, I was after this news broke, or after this story came out, I got on Twitter and was just kind of like looking around at, what people's reactions were. Obviously, everybody that's excited for this game is excited for, everything that's, all the information we're receiving. Somebody, I can't remember who, somebody I was talking with, thinks that maybe we'll get one more, not a blowout, but one more big reveal before the game releases, because the game is 98 days away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so close, but like so far.
It's 98 days away. So he was thinking like maybe, he was saying like Sony would have a state of play or something like that. I think it would happen at the Game Awards. Maybe like a new 2.5 minute trailer with the reveal of maybe Red 13, Yuffie. Although maybe
Is she going to be in Midgard?
Actually, no. I guess not. Maybe it wasn't Yuffie. Who was it?
You only get those people.
You just got Tifa, Cloud,
I guess it's just the main
and then
cast.
Red 13
And
at the
Aerith.
very end of Midgar. Or no. Yeah, at the very
Yeah,
end, the
and
Shinra Tower.
Yeah, so maybe that's all it was. But anyway, so yeah, we might get like a new. I could see Square dropping a new trailer. Obviously, all the eyes would be on the Game Awards that night anyway. It'd be a great way to kind of, see what the rest of the game looks like. More concept art, more, shots of the battle system. Just like a cool 2-minute trailer.
Yeah, I want to see something more like less trailerish and just more like straight gameplay. I know they did one
At E3.
at E3,
Right.
but I want to see another one of that. Just like running around and like what does getting into a battle look like, and like maybe some of the menu system or the materia
Kind
system.
of like a deeper dive into
Right.
the gameplay. That
I
makes
don't
sense.
think they need to release anything else until the game, but if they do, I'd like to see more of how they've made Midgar this time around. If it's going to be encompass an entire
That too,
game,
yeah.
I want to see what they've added like into
new
it.
areas, like expanded areas, or
Right.
just more characters, more NPCs, more dialogue, whatever they packed into it. Because
See what you can do, like how many, like is it just like a small like fetch quests like you get from like
Right.
NPCs, or like if there's like full blown like that expands on the story like in ways that we've never seen.
Midgar is like when you play it, like when you're little,
It feels
like we did,
massive.
it feels huge. But you go back and play, and
Well,
you
that's
can
the
breeze
thing.
through
In a few
Midgar
hours.
really fast.
Yeah, I mean, I was
It's not a
playing.
very big
I was
part of the
playing
game.
the PS1 Classic version. Obviously, I've played it a dozen or half a dozen times
Right.
already at this point. But yeah, I mean, if you know what you're doing and you 5
Right.
hours, I mean,
Yeah.
you can really get through that game fast, or at least the opening section. So it'll be, like you said, it'll be interesting to see, if you can, because really we only see Sector 7 and Sector 5.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then this like
and
one
then
little
parts
one-off
of
areas.
Shinra headquarters.
Yeah, and so do we get to see the other? I'm assuming we would have to see the other sectors. We would have to,
sectors, or just expand on the ones that are already in the story originally.
I
but-
feel like they'd have to, because how like it starts out you bombing, was it Sector 1?
Mm-hmm.
And then you bomb Sector 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd imagine you'd have to add more of those types of quests, like where you go around bombing more of the
Just like more
reactors.
Yeah, like setting up the story of Avalanche,
Mhm.
kind of like what they're up to. Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah. One thing that actually I just thought of is, I don't remember. Maybe it was the E3 trailer. Was Cloud and was it Tifa? Where remember those black
yeah, the
swirling
Aerith.
things?
The
Oh, was
it was
it?
like the first time he meets her.
Dementors.
I think
Yeah,
those-
exactly. Yeah.
I think it like took place after the opening of bombing Sector 1, where he sees her on the street for the first time. She asks him to buy a flower. Or
So
whatever.
what is that, and how does that play into the story? Because obviously that's something.
This is brand new.
The only
Yeah.
thing that I thought that it could be is, do you remember the black cloaks?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nibelheim?
like I was thinking, like has something to do with like Genova and the Genova cells.
And so, are they going to be introduced earlier in the story? Because if I remember correctly,
you don't see him for the first time until Nibelheim.
Right, which is, obviously way after.
Yeah, it's after Cosmo Canyon.
At this rate, it's like 6 games away.
So, if that's the only thing that I could think of, unless it's a brand new, story element that they're introducing. But it looks like maybe they have like some type of supernatural, obviously, like supernatural twist to them, which could be kind of cool. But yeah, we're less than 100 days away from Final Fantasy VII.
And we got to get a PS4, which I'm just going to get a used one somewhere.
I mean,
I'm not going to drop money on a Pro.
No,
especially not when the PS5
if you
going to be coming out so soon afterwards.
Right. Yeah, used one, or even like now, between now and the end of the year, there's like, it's $200 for like
I'm sure we could get some like Black Friday deal.
That's what I mean. There's like a Black Friday special.
Or like a Cyber, was it Monday?
Cyber Monday. But yeah, it's got God of War, Last of Us Remastered, and not Uncharted, Horizon, and then the 1 terabyte PS4 for $200.
Not bad.
But anyway, so yeah, that is that. Anything before we move on? Nope.
Nope.
All right. The next story is Half-Life Alyx, officially revealed March 2020 release date. Did you guys see the trailer for this or anything?
Yeah.
Did you?
It looks so fucking cool.
So you guys, you especially, are much bigger Half-Life fans than I am. First off, what do you think of the game itself? The fact that it's VR, it's not technically Half-Life 3, but it's like obviously the first real Half-Life game that we've got.
It's going to be like a full-length Half-Life game.
12 to 15 hours, which, pretty standard first-person shooter. What do you think about it, first off?
First off, it looks really cool.
I think it looks really, like, the graphics look really good for, like, especially for a VR game.
Yeah,
right.
And, like, I think, like, the VR aspect, I think, I don't own VR. I've barely played, like, VR, but it looks like the interaction with the environments and stuff. It looks like it's probably one of the best games to do it. Obviously, it's Valve, and Valve like pioneered Oculus Rift, so they know what they're doing in that space.
What I really liked, but so I'm interested to see because Valve always is at the they don't, especially with Half-Life, they're not going to put the Half-Life name on a game if they don't think it's going to push VR forward. So the way that you can interact with the environments and the little items that really you haven't seen before is really cool. But because you got to think with like Half-Life 2, it was all about the physics engine.
Right. It's like they're doing like a new version of
the next
what
step
they've
of
done.
that.
Yeah.
And even going back to the original Half-Life, it came out in 98 at this point. Maybe it was 97. But really, like first-person shooters up until then, it's hard to remember now, but like the original Half-Life really pioneered the first-person shooter the way we think of it now, and everybody takes that formula and puts their own spin on it, because before Half-Life came out, it was just like it was Duke Nukem,
arcadey.
It was Doom, where they just drop you in and you just start shooting. Where here, it was probably 15 or 20 minutes before you saw an enemy.
Right.
It was all about story building and world building and the atmosphere. And now, a lot of games do that. I would say most first-person shooters do that.
Yeah.
But it is because of them. So it seems like with every Half-Life release, they do...
They're pioneering.
They try to push the envelope forward. And so, I'm interested to see kind of, what other tricks they have. Like you guys, I don't have a gaming PC. I would love this.
Yeah, I'm not getting it just because I don't have, like, I know you can use, like, a Vive, a Oculus. There's a few different
it says any
setups you can use.
Any PC-based VR headsets. So, Vive, Oculus Quest. There's a couple of the smaller ones that...
Yeah.
I don't think they actually need PCs. But anyway, that's a world that
I hope that, like, even if it's, like, a year or two down the line, they port it to consoles.
I would like to see it... I don't know if they would ever not be VR, but I would love for it to come to PS VR after like a year or two.
At the very least, yeah.
Because I'm glad that they're working on Half-Life related games.
I think this is the next
I think
step.
it bodes well for. I was going to say I think it bodes well for Half-Life 3.
I think this is
it
a
shows that
stepping
they
stone.
haven't abandoned the Half-Life franchise.
Yeah.
But why? Go ahead. Why? Let me ask you this: why would they do Half-Life Alyx and not just call it Half-Life 3?
Maybe they're just like testing the waters about how hungry people are for another Half-Life game. Maybe it's also to boost Oculus sales.
Sure.
I don't think it's like anything to do with them just making it for the shits of it. Like you said, it's Valve and they put everything into pretty much everything they do.
Right.
I think it's more of like to... Oh, that's a good question. I do think it's probably more just to see...
Sure.
Along with making the game, just to see what the appetite is for if they were to put so much resource into making Half-Life 3, if it's not already in development.
Right.
But, we've heard that for 15 years, 10 years, whatever it is.
I'm wondering if it's the opposite, and they're not necessarily testing the waters. If they are, and maybe I'm splitting hairs, I'm reaching a little bit, but like, they might just be scared to like do a Half-Life 3.
That's a possibility.
Where they just know, like, it's been forever. Like, there's no way that this game, Half-Life 3, can live up to the enormously high expectations.
I read an article, it was a while, maybe a year or two ago, that's the exact reason why it hasn't come out yet.
It's just like...
It's because they've started it several times, and each time they've scrapped it because they thought it wasn't living up to the Half-Life standards. It wasn't going to live up to fan expectations, and
which I think is interesting. Yeah, so if you take that point and couple it with the VR aspect, they were like,
maybe it's a little safer.
It's a little safer, and because they can't maybe innovate in a traditional first person, they decided, hey, let's use this new tech, VR, and let's do something that might be a little easier to innovate on.
I will say you don't always have to innovate.
I was just about to. They don't need to innovate. They just need to wrap up the story in a satisfying way.
Right. They just need to make a good game.
Right.
And obviously they're masters at their craft. They're talented developers over there. Yeah, I'm interested. Obviously the commercial success I think is already written on the wall.
If I'll say this
in terms of VR, like it's not.
But like I said, I'll say this: if it does really well and it's like critically received, they're gonna have to make Half-Life 3 because people are gonna be chomping at the bit for more Half-Life if this does really good.
That's fair.
More than they already have.
Right. Because it's just like a taste, you know what I mean?
Because
more Half-Life.
What's his name? The Valve...
Gabe Newell.
Yeah, he can't do an interview without getting asked about Half-Life 3 and...
Good.
So I found this... Half-Life Alyx runs on the Source 2 engine.
Looks really good.
And will be playable on Steam via all PC-based VR headsets. This includes Valve's Index VR headset, HTC Vive, but also the Oculus Quest with the PC Link cable, and Microsoft's mixed reality headset. So it looks like there's...
I didn't even know that shit was out.
I didn't either. But yeah.
Like the HoloLens? Because that shit looked cool, man.
Yeah.
I saw that thing, like, and they had, like, we're doing the Minecraft on it. Yeah. Looks so nice.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, Half-Life is back in one form or another. It seems like everybody's obviously super pumped about it. I tell you what, I was reading an interview, or I was watching Jeff Keighley. He does the Game Awards. That dude knows fucking all the secrets.
Yeah,
because he knew about this game. Because he had like a really highly polished, like produced video of him playing the game already, and like an interview with like Valve and like Gabe and everything. Just like shout out to him because he knows, and like people that come to him for like world premiere like trailers that drop at Game Awards, like this guy knows everything before anybody else. Shout out to you, Jeff Keighley, man.
And that being said, that's also the main reason why the Gamescom was so underwhelming.
Oh yeah, where he
where he did his thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The next story is Fable 4 possible concept art appears online.
I'm surprised I haven't read this, dude, because I like always have my ears out for Fable shit, and I haven't heard of this.
So Twitter user Chloe Brill via Reset Era recently discovered the work of Brazilian concept artist Rodrigo Idalino on ArtStation. Among his work was what appears to be concept art for the new Fable game that's reportedly in development at Playground Games. Within hours of the discovery, the concept art was pulled down from Idalino's portfolio, but not before it was captured by those who found it. And what really, and I have it pulled up here, but what really sold it is like they have the Playground Games like watermark, which makes it look legit. But the actual art that was up there, it looks like somebody who is supposed to be modeled after actress Anne Hathaway. Her father, it's revealed that her father was probably a fisherman who, I almost said fisherman, a fisherman who taught her how to tie different types of knots, whatever that means in the gameplay.
I could be going real in depth with this Fable.
As to her dress sense,
Everything that what's his name? I can't think of his name.
Peter Molyneux.
Yeah. Everything he promised for the first Fable will be coming true.
Right, man. Your line's gonna go.
As to her dress sense, Idalino took inspiration from 16th century European styles, fairy tales, and was going for a quote an assassin vibe, but not in disguise. So that's pretty much it. I don't think it's a shock that this game is in development or rumored to be in development.
That's a launch window. I don't know if it'll be a launch title, but it's a launch window game. Maybe not. Maybe about a year. Maybe
I could see it in 2021. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I could see this being like a spring 2021 game. So maybe like 4 to 6 months after the launch.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
it'd be awesome to see just like a Fable game that's like as in depth and as big as like a Witcher,
right?
Like Witcher 3.
Playground, they make big open world. I mean, it's obviously racing. It's not quite the same, but they make big open world games with quests. So they're not. Like,
so that's what I'm wondering is like
to making an open world
is
game.
this game, because I mean, Fable when it originally was released, it was open world-esque
ish.
Yeah, and so, but like obviously, you know, game design has evolved so much since then. Do you think this is just not? And I don't mean this in a bad way, but do you think it's just a Witcher 3 with a Fable, you know, paint job on it?
I mean, it could be.
Yeah, I'd say
not
more
that,
or less.
Not that I think that's necessarily a bad
no,
thing.
I don't think it is either, because Witcher is a fantastic game, and if you know, because what really I think people dug about Fable is. It's kind of whimsical. It's got a fairy tale element.
That's what set Fable apart from
style.
Like Elder Scrolls or something. It has its own style, like it's very British humor.
Right.
It's, you know, it's Lionhead and yeah, that's the part that I actually missed the most. Thinking about Fable is just like the actual world that they created, Albion.
Right.
So I hope Playground can kind of recapture that feeling and the vibe that the first two had. The third one I didn't really care for.
So yeah, I'm interested to see, you know, when we'll see more. I think
not for a while.
I think that probably when, and I don't know when they would do this, but whenever, again, February seems to be the rumored date for PS5, like a full-blown reveal of the entire console and games. I'm wondering when Scarlet will do theirs. I didn't actually put this in the story, or in the news, but just because it is a rumor, but it seems to be pretty reliable that the PS5 will release. I can't remember the exact date, but I think it's a week or 10 days or so before Thanksgiving next year with a rumored, $399 price.
Yeah, $399 is like that sweet spot for a new console.
Mm-hmm. I think it was PS5 price. I'm gonna look it up. It couldn't have been $499.
You know, though, if that is the release date, you know those Black Friday lines are going to be crazy for the PS5.
Yeah. No, $499. $499. So
still not
terrible.
Still not the PS3.
It's not no $599.
Right. So, but yeah. Anyway, going back to Fable, I'm interested to see when Scarlet or Microsoft does their big blowout. We get the final name of the console. We get the look of the actual design.
Let's call it Xbox 2, man. That's what I think it should be. It's Xbox 2.
I think they should.
I don't think they should because they've already. That's not the second Xbox. So they've already had the Xbox and the
Xbox
360
One wasn't
and,
the first Xbox.
and Xbox One.
Xbox 360 wasn't the 360th Xbox.
I've said this.
So they should
Just do something off the wall.
Yeah, something different because I don't think they want to follow in Sony's like footsteps with just like the Xbox One, Xbox 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think they should do, and I've said this for PlayStation. I've said it for Nintendo, although Nintendo's a little different. I think they should just call it the Xbox.
I think you said that, yeah.
And just make it super simple. And now I don't know what they'll do after that if they just call it the next Xbox again. But just call it, this is the Xbox. And then just be done with it.
Xbox.
Xbox. But yeah, so who knows?
That would be cool with 3 X's on the front and back. Have exclusive adult streaming.
That looks like some like stupid gamer tag I'd see on Call of Duty or something.
XXX69420 or something. So the last story I put in here is Resident Evil 3 Remake. No, I'm calling it 3-make. Resident Evil 3 Remake reportedly releasing next year. According to a new report, this is from comicbook.com, Capcom is currently working on a remake to Resident Evil 3 just like they did Resident Evil 2 that released earlier this year. Further, it's apparently releasing much sooner than expected next year. As you may know, there have been rumors and reports suggesting similar information in the past. But this time the report comes way of YouTube channel Spawnwave, which tends to only report on unofficial information when it's confident in the validity of the rumor. So, I mean, really, that's it as far as like the news aspect of it. I'm interested to see, one, if this is true, although it seems, like it is, obviously, with the critical and commercial success of Resident Evil 2.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't true.
Yeah.
But, Resident Evil 3, I think, is kind of like the forgotten of the PlayStation games.
I really like Resident Evil 3.
It's like the only one I never played.
See, I mean, and I liked it too.
It.
But it's like, Resident Evil 2 is iconic. Resident Evil 1 is the one that started it all, so that's why it gets attention.
Resident Evil 4 is iconic.
Yeah. So Resident Evil 3, excuse me.
5 and 6 are iconic in bad ways.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, I think Resident Evil 3 is just as good as 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And so I think this is, one, a great way to introduce, a new generation to these games. Obviously, Resident Evil 2 earlier this year, and Resident Evil 3, if it ends up, coming out next year. More than what it means for Resident Evil 3, I want to know if they will remake Resident Evil 4 in the RE engine.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be really cool.
If they're just going down the line. Obviously, 5 and 6, they can probably skip over.
Yeah, nobody wants to replay those.
But, if they, because Resident Evil 4 is the pinnacle of that franchise.
Yeah. And you'd have to think that it'd be a lot easier to remake 4 than it was the first
right,
2 and 3.
Because the framework is already there. It's already third person, over the shoulder.
And
just got to, obviously it's tougher than this, but you got to slap a fresh coat of paint on it. Whereas the first, 2 and 3, you have to completely
make them
redo
from
it.
scratch.
Yeah, just because, the isometric cameras and all that. But yeah, that kind of got me thinking is, if Resident Evil 3 comes out next year, let's say if we continue on this path, Resident Evil 4 maybe in 2021, 2022, do you... Where does that leave Resident Evil 8? Is it a...
That's a good question.
Is it
Are you talking about like the online game or like the actual...
The Resident Evil... the main line installment. Is it going to be... I mean, because this franchise could go in a million different directions. They could completely reboot it and retcon it.
Right.
And start over and just call it Resident Evil. They could continue the story. They could.
I think they've almost written themselves into a corner where they have to continue the story.
Yeah.
Because they left it off on a cliffhanger, and you can't just restart that. If you want to like reboot it, then you're gonna have to finish the story first.
So that takes me to my next question. If they do continue it, is it a Resident Evil 2 over the shoulder, or is it a first person Resident Evil 7 type where it's more like, you know, yeah, it kind of goes
I'd like
back
to see it like back over the shoulder. First person, it was cool, but if they could like combine the two, like how the original concept for Resident Evil 4 was supposed to be, with like Leon in like that dark mansion over the shoulder and stuff like that.
Yeah, I liked. I think the Resident Evil 7 was kind of like it was a step in the right direction after 5 and 6. I think
like
they
very like this like an experiment kind of.
And that's what I mean. I think because when Resident Evil 7 came out, you know, we all remember that first-person horror games were all the rage. You had like Slender. You had, you know,
the main reason why everybody, including myself, believes it is PT.
PT. You know, what was the other one?
Outlast.
And Outlast 2. So I think that was kind of in that vein. But, you know, after the critical and commercial success of Resident Evil 2 Remake, yeah, I think it would make sense to go back to a over-the-shoulder, you know, style game.
And also, I think that with 7, they just wanted to show that Resident Evil, it's still a survival horror game.
Right.
Because it got away from that with 5 and 6.
Sure. Right.
I'm kind of wondering if it's not just a Resident Evil thing, if Capcom is just thinking about like updating old franchises like Mega Man, or
they've had the Mega Man collection and, you know, the Mega Man X collection. They've done,
but like you know what I mean, like a brand new state of the art graphics, whatever, of their franchises. I think that'd be really cool because they got some really good franchises.
If we're talking about Capcom, I'd like to see a new Breath of Fire game.
Yeah,
I love Breath of Fire. One of my favorite JRPG series.
I wish they sold more so that they would make them more like that Super Nintendo era where like every other game was an RPG game.
I always thought it would be cool where, you know, going back to Mega Man, you know, if anybody's played the original Mega Man games, you know, there's 8 masters, robot masters. I was trying to think of the term. 8 robot masters that you could basically tackle in any order. Now, you know, if you did take it in a certain order, then it made the following bosses easier because you had the right weapons. I always thought it would be cool if they wanted to take like a classic franchise and update it, almost make it like a third-person open-world RPG.
Yeah.
With 8 dungeons spread all over the map, almost like a Zelda type.
Yeah.
And just, you know, you can tackle it in any order and do anything and just... You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be really
I think that'd be really cool. Or something like a Metroid Prime. You could make it even like a first person, you know.
Yeah.
Because they both like shoot lasers from their arms. Yeah. And you could make it like a Metroidvania type game where, you know, you have the 8 different bosses and you can you know, just like a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Like,
you just go in any order and kind of like
figure it out.
Get new abilities and weapons and
that.
But yeah. So I mean that's pretty much it as far as the news. Do you guys have anything you'd like to bring up before we get into what we've been playing?
No, I don't think I really saw anything. I heard xCloud's doing really cool. I heard Stadia's trash, and I heard xCloud's great. So
yep.
Nothing unexpected there.
Yeah. The people are starting to take like not bets, but like they're talking online like how long is it going to be before they just pull the plug on Stadia?
I just give it like a year.
Yeah, I don't know, because Google's notorious for starting a project and then just pulling it.
Yeah.
They have the money to do that.
Yeah.
They should just like make it just like a Netflix, like a.
I think if they were smart, that's what they would have done. I don't know what their pricing model like. I don't. That doesn't
instead of having
that
to
doesn't
like
appeal to anybody.
Buy games and then like
unless you're just
stream
like
them or download
hardcore techie or
right.
But I think that's the only way you can save Stadia is if you go to like a streaming service type model.
Yeah, you know, it's like,
Like
what,
a-
$15 a
like-
month, $10
yeah.
a month, and you get you get all.
That's what we already talked about it, but that's what I thought it was going to be when it was first announced.
And I think that they'll probably test the waters on this, and then they'll flip the switch. But at that point, you know, whether it's 3 months or 6 months,
They can't wait too long, or otherwise they'll
no,
just
nobody's going to care at that point.
Right.
not even that, they'll just lose like any belief that they might still already have.
Yeah, because at that point you're getting. If they don't do it, I'd say within the next maybe
Because
3 or
No
4
Man's
months.
Sky, I heard it's like a great game, but like I'm not going to touch that game just because how it was in the beginning.
Yeah,
It's
I
too
mean,
late
first
now.
impressions mean a lot, and it's, you know, if they wait too long, but then it's Project Scarlet and xCloud are right around the corner. I'm just
right.
gonna wait for that, and so they really are in a weird like rock and hard place spot where
And they didn't have any.
they really
Their only like first party launch title was Guilt.
yeah.
Which I haven't heard anything about it. It could be like the greatest game of the decade, but it's not going to sell. It's not going to sell Stadia.
They really needed, whether it was a first party or an exclusive third party, they really needed like a AAA
Oh yeah.
exclusive, and they really just dropped the ball on that. You know, it doesn't matter if it's first party or third party. Every single console ever has had some type of exclusive killer app.
And it wasn't Guilt.
No, like I said, I haven't heard anything of it. It could be a great game, but it's not going to sell Stadias.
I heard it was pretty good. But
Yeah, but it's not going to
whatever.
sell Stadias.
But you know, you have your Halos and your Marios and your, whatever. They needed something to
grab people.
grab people. They really did. But anyway, so best of luck to Google and Stadia and everybody over there. We'll see how long it lasts. So what have you guys been playing?
Modern Warfare.
How's it going? I haven't picked up Modern Warfare in a couple weeks.
It's
Must be so liberating.
I know, right? To not be held prisoner by that franchise. But it's
Still.
it's
Is
got
it getting better?
It has not since like that one update where I said it's trending in the right direction, and then like since then it's just plateaued and it stayed there. They released their quote unquote big update this like a few days ago, and it literally changed like almost nothing.
Was this the big one that was supposed to come out before the end of November?
We think
that's
it,
what everybody-
like that. That's pretty much like what everybody thinks it is, and it changed nothing.
So
I'm losing.
we've got until Saturday for them to drop a new.
I'm losing all faith in Infinity Ward.
Like I said,
I think they're a bunch of liars, and they just don't care about the feedback. That's what I really am starting to feel.
I feel like they're stubborn in their own vision. They don't want to change it or something.
I can see that.
Like they forgot to when they released the patch notes, they forgot to release an internal note. It was just for like the staff members before they released it. So it said it was like an adjustment to footsteps, like ADS and crouch walking footstep volume. And they said underneath that this isn't the big footstep update that the community wants. So they know, they hear it all. They hear it all. They're ignoring it.
Refuse to act on it.
So,
I would hope that they are.
I'm waiting for. They need new maps.
They
need new maps. The maps they have right now are awful.
I haven't picked it up. I was so frustrated I played 2 or 3 days in a row. This has probably been 2 weeks ago that I was just getting spawn. It was just all the crap that we've been complaining about, so I won't go back into it. But all the issues that we've been complaining about just seem to happen game after game, and finally I got so frustrated I just put it down. I was like, I refuse to play this anytime soon.
Yeah, I feel it.
Did you guys see that
but then
video?
like there's always like I get this like Call of Duty itch where I want to play some Duty and then I go back to it, and then like by the end of it I'm like, I'm done with this game.
Did you guys see the spawn where the guy dropped? He spawned in midair, fell to the ground, and died.
No, but I'm not shocked at all that.
Yeah,
happened.
he spawned in midair, like 6 feet above the ground. He dropped and died, which that alone is bad enough. But then if you look at the replay that was circulating, where he was, if he would have survived that, there was somebody right in the doorway.
That
like
happens
an
to me all
enemy.
the time.
Yeah,
Where
I'll
I'll watch somebody's kill cam, and you can see they're just ADSing this one spot, and then you just see me appear.
Yeah.
And then I get shot, and I'm like, come on.
Yes.
Or I'll spawn into like flash grenades, stun grenades, regular grenades. I've spawned into a claymore.
Yeah.
I'll spawn with somebody literally right in my face.
Yep. And that's why
I've spawned with somebody behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been in a spot where like there's probably about like 2 or 3 feet between me and the back of the map, and somebody spawned behind me. It's everything that's like that would make you rage. This game makes me rage like no other. And I'm really not a rager, but this game makes me rage. And I've been playing new Pokemon.
How's that?
It's really good.
You got sword?
I like it. Shield.
Oh, you got shield?
Because I like the way the legendary Pokemon looks more.
Gotcha. So, tell me about it. How you liking it? Just tell me all about it.
I mean, it's really good. It's a Pokemon game.
Sure, so you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
They just transplanted Pokemon and made it 3D.
Yeah,
pretty much.
like fully 3D. Like what they started with like X and Y and the remakes of Ruby and Sapphire, but they like took it all the way this time. And it's really good, you know. I love Pokemon games, and the formula never really changes, so there's not really much to say about that, but I don't really think it needs to change.
I don't think it does either.
I think people were like complaining about like Pokemon not being in there or something like that. Or
it doesn't have all the Pokemon in the game that like have ever
I was saying,
been
unless you're like
revealed.
a super hardcore like Pokemon fanatic, it really like that doesn't matter. I wouldn't worry about that because there's so many Pokemon. There's like 400 Pokemon in there, and
even
it takes
for
you
the
forever
people
to catch them.
Well, yeah, people were making a big stink on it. Somebody, not Trump, who the fuck did they write to? Somebody wrote into like somebody in the government to try to halt the sale. I mean, there was like some outrageous shit.
Those people are delusional,
man.
They're not connected to reality.
And so, anyway, but yeah,
it's really good. I have one very small complaint.
What's up?
Very mild spoilers for anybody who's like hasn't played it, but one thing that I've always really liked about Pokemon is like the legendaries. And in this game, I found out that you don't get your first legendary until right before the very final battle at the end of the story. And then you can get the other, because there's usually like maybe like 2, 3, 4 legendaries in each game. And you can't get any of the other like legendaries until after the story. You know,
kind of like the
post story.
Yeah, the end game.
And I don't know. I didn't really like. That's my only real complaint with it because in like every other Pokemon game I played, which I've pretty much played them all except for Sun and Moon, is like you maybe get the your first legendary like 3/4 of the way through the game, so you have a little bit of time to use them.
Right.
But I don't like the just like getting one of the Pokemon like. The main reason why I bought the game was because the way that legendary Pokemon looked. I don't like having to wait till after the story. After the story to get them.
Now, are you are done with the story then?
Yeah, I finished the story yesterday.
So, are you compelled to go back through and kind of do the end game?
I'll get the Pokemon, but then after that, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Like, I really think I might. I don't know. I might try and like catch them all, but I probably not.
Now, as somebody who hasn't played a Pokemon game since probably the Game Boy Advance,
Good lord, that's a long time.
Yeah. Is there like an online component where you can trade Pokemon? Okay. Has that been in there for a while?
I think maybe since like the DS days.
And you could even trade them like before then, but
you had like the link cable.
Yeah, the link cable.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a while, and I don't know if you can fight other people online. I could have swore that was a thing. I've just been playing
I know it was
the
a thing
campaign.
in the last games. I'm not sure how you
Because that would be
it.
cool. I would get into that after I beat the campaign, but I'm still on the campaign. I'm like 6 gyms in or something like that.
Now, the way the story is set up, now is there, because I remember saying this on several episodes back, is there like a minor league, major league Pokemon tournament thing going on?
No, it's just one league. Like you go through the gym battles and then you fight in like the league championship at the end.
See, I swear I thought I heard that, like you start off in like basically the Pokemon minor leagues and then you build your...
That would have been really cool.
You build up your thing and then you kind of like graduate or you get called up to the majors and fight like the big gym leader. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That would have been more. I do think that playing this, they need to do something a little different with the Pokemon formula.
I've been saying this for a very long time that they should release a Pokemon game that's like, maybe it's like an MMO type game that has like all the regions from every Pokemon generation that's ever come out, and you can travel in between them.
That sounds really cool.
That does sound really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's as good as Pokemon and as addicting as it is, it's kind of stale. Like the formula of just go through and catch Pokemon, and then you beat the gym. And
now,
then you
is
go
this a
to the
case
next
of?
gym.
And I'm not talking about you two specifically, but the Pokemon fan gamer at large. They say that, and then they change it, and then they bitch about the changes. Do you think that has anything to do with why the formula has
probably
stayed the way it is, or is it if it's not broke, don't fix it type of thing?
I think
that
if it's broke, don't fix it, and I also think it's because they also don't want to make the game too difficult because Pokemon games are meant for like everybody, even kids. So
sure, we have to remember that their main demographic is probably 10 or 12 year olds.
You can make 2 Pokemon games, one a traditional one and something a little more out there. Or something
and the main thing that keeps me going is it's not really like the traditional you catch Pokemon and then you go to the gym and you beat the gym and then you go to the next gym, and it's like because they always have these like little side plots with like that involves like these like Team Rocket type gangs and stuff, and that usually that's what keeps the story interesting for me. Is like those little like side stories that like develop alongside as you're doing your journey.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you been playing?
Call of Duty. Just started Subnautica today.
Well, now what's that game? What's that about?
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it.
It's like a survival game, which I really enjoy those.
Okay.
Story, I think you're just kind of dropped onto this planet, like an alien planet. That's just an entire ocean. It's a lot of resource gathering and,
so it's actually so survival, I see what you're saying.
Right, and then you got to build a base and...
Okay.
I'm not very far into it, so I can't really tell you how deep it goes. I haven't even made it off the first little area. Coral reef or shelf, whatever you want to call it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, something about those games. It's just I guess like that, and like Minecraft and games like those. I get very addicted to those resource gathering games. I saw that Metro Exodus was on Game Pass, so I downloaded all 3 of the Metro games, and I'm starting. With 2033, I'm an hour into it.
That game is fucking hard to play. Not in the I don't mean the difficulty. I mean the way it feels.
It's like you're underwater.
It's like you're fucking stuck in concrete.
Yeah.
Because I tried to go back and play it not too long ago, probably within the last 2 or 3 months, because it's on Game Pass or not Game Pass. It's on PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
And after games like Apex and Call of Duty and everything like that, it's so slow.
Yeah, dude. But I like the atmosphere. But yeah, it's taken me a little bit to get used to the movement and shit because it's very sluggish, which is obviously how they wanted it to be.
Sure.
Because I heard people were complaining about the Exodus because it was a little more faster paced, maybe.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I want to get through those games. I want to get through Exodus. On my Game Pass, I saw something for a download for Bleeding Edge and Wasteland 3. I don't even know what those are yet because there's only 100 megabytes each, so I got to go in and kind of see what that's about.
I think
hope
Wasteland
it's a beta or something.
I think Wasteland 3 is isn't that not a Command and Conquer, but isn't that an RTS?
It's a top-down RPG.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm thinking something else then.
Yeah, it's a top-down RPG.
Okay. No, I was thinking Fallout. Yeah,
it's like the old Fallout
1 and 2. That's what it was.
It's the same guys who created Fallout.
Oh, okay.
The original Fallout, or wrote it or created it. I'm not quite sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping the Bleeding Edge thing. I hope that's a beta. I haven't even clicked on it yet, and I downloaded a bunch of games on Game Pass because it's like a curse of abundance.
Yeah, and you can only withstand so much Modern Warfare in one day.
Sure.
Yeah, dude, I like went through Game Pass and I was like, there's got to be another like online first-person shooter on here I can sink my teeth into, dude. 'Cause I'm like
I'm ready for like a BR mode.
Yeah,
I don't know. I might just play that when it comes out and not the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, guys.
I like watching people play BR online. I don't like it as much playing it, but this game, it needs a battle royale.
I never really liked BRs until I started like really getting into Apex, and then like I was like, man, because like I never played Fortnite. It just didn't look very fun to me.
Right.
Too much building. Yeah. But
and who's still playing PUBG, dude? That game is so
and
garbage,
I've seen PUBG, and it just looks so.
It looks like an Xbox 360.
Yeah,
game
it just
launching.
it doesn't look like a finished, polished game, and so I've never wanted to play it. But and then so like before Apex, my only experience with BR was Blackout on Black Ops 4, and that was all right.
Yeah, it was fine.
I didn't really like it, and so like I kind of steered clear of BR because that was like my first experience with it.
Yeah.
But then I got into Apex, and I really liked it. So if they do it like, if they can make, even if it's just like a Modern Warfare skin on a Blackout from Black Ops 4,
Yeah,
right.
I'd play it.
I'd play it more than multiplayer, probably.
And that feeling of winning a BR match is just, it's such a great feeling.
Hell yeah, dude.
It never gets old.
Like a half an hour into it.
Mm-hmm. It never gets old. Especially when you have those high kill games and you're just going around just mowing people down.
Right.
And you're just like in a zone.
Or it could be people just camping again.
I'm sure that's probably what it is. Hopefully, if they do a BR, I mean, when they do the BR mode in Modern Warfare, they need to increase the time to kill. It can't be the same as multiplayer, because
that's the whole point of BR.
Is like it's too fast.
Shot.
It's too fast.
Right. Well,
but yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Play anything else?
Dude, I'm taking a break from Minecraft because the game fucking hates me, dude. In the past week, I've fallen into lava and lost my shit 6 times, dude. That's not even an exaggeration. I'm talking like diamonds, man, gold bars. Like, I just can't take it. That game is infuriating. And this isn't like just me just like hopping into lava. Like, I was in the Nether, and like the big jellyfish guy shot something at me, and he knocked me into one square. It was surrounded by solid rock in one square that went down like 50 feet into lava. And so I lost my shit that way. And then like another one is I was at the bottom of like a mine shaft, and I saw a bunch of obsidian, and Chase was watching me and he laughed at me.
Hilarious.
I saw a bunch of obsidian, and it was just obsidian and like water. Mm-hmm. And if you play Minecraft, like there's like water current, so like if you jump in, it'll pull you. And it didn't look like there was anything else, just water and obsidian. And then I jumped in, and the water like pulled me to one square where it was just lava.
It was hilarious. It was so
and I was
funny.
trying to jump out. I was trying to like claw my way out. And I didn't. And so I lost all my stuff again, and I'm so tired of like farming in that game. That's all I've been doing for like 2 weeks. And
that's funny.
So I'm taking a little break from Minecraft. I'll go back though, because the game's it's addicting. It's really addicting.
Well, the only thing that I've been playing since last time we got together is Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh yeah.
Where do I start? The game is good. I don't think it's great. I definitely don't think it's Game of the Year, like a lot of people online are saying. I think that Respawn has a solid foundation in place, but it definitely needs some tweaking and some optimization and some work for a sequel. So let me start here. The story, I won't get into spoilers because I know you guys still want to play it. The story is, honestly, as somebody who's watched all the Star Wars movies and has, even looked at some, consumed some of the, like, well, it's not canon anymore, but like the extended universe.
Yeah.
This is one of the better Star Wars stories in any of the mediums. I think it's up there with.
Does it take place before Rogue One?
It takes place right around that same time. I don't know if it's technically before, but it's in between episodes
3 and 4.
3 and 4. So it's after Order 66, and it's before A New Hope. So I don't know if it's before. There is a timeline out there, but I don't know if it's on which side of Rogue One it falls on. But this, I think, stands up there as one of the better Star Wars stories in movies and, comics and, TV or whatever. Which is great. The main character, Cal, he's been getting a lot of shit because he's like a generic redheaded white dude.
Yeah, and I just realized that's like a real person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the guy who plays Joker in in Gotham.
And then I felt bad for making fun of him.
Yeah. And so I don't have any problem with it, but I if you do or not, whatever, that's fine. The side characters are cool. The worlds that you explore are all very cool. Like, it's... Again, I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but, it's a... What I really liked, what I will say about the story is that it's not like the prequels or even, like, the original trilogy where... Or even, like, the fucking new trilogy where it's like, oh, they discover they have force powers within them. Like, this guy's already... Like, when the game starts, he's already a Jedi. He's just in hiding.
Yeah.
Is he a Jedi? I thought he was like a Padawan.
No,
he's... Like a Jedi apprentice.
No, No, I think he's a Jedi. I know he has a master, but anyway, or maybe he is a Padawan. I guess technically a Jedi Padawan.
I don't know. That's what.
Because he does have there are flashbacks where he's talking to his master and like learning new abilities. But yeah, it's not like he discovers that he has force powers. Like because of Order 66, the few remaining Jedi have gone into hiding, and he's one of them. And so at the very beginning, in the very first stage, like, the Empire comes in and, like, starts to wreck shit, and he, like, whips out a lightsaber. It's pretty cool. What I don't necessarily like about the game is a lot of the gameplay. Most of the gameplay, yeah. And it's actually the more that I play it, because I'm probably, I'd say 2/3 of the way through, the more that I play it, the less I'm enjoying it, which really sucks. But I'm pushing through because of the story, because I like the characters, and I want to see where it's going. The gameplay, you can obviously see where a lot of the inspiration comes from. They've talked about, Sekiro. They've talked about Souls games. They've talked about Uncharted. They've talked about Metroid Prime. And you see flashes of that everywhere. The level design is cool in that any area that you go into, there are branching paths everywhere. Yeah. And there are branching paths all over the place, and somehow the level designers did a really great job in that it all, comes back together. And so, yeah, you'll go to the first planet, and then you need, like, a force power that you don't have access to yet, so it marks it on your map with a big red glow that, hey, you discovered this spot, but you can't get through it yet. Make a mental note if you want to go back through later. And so it's Metroid Prime in that way. The combat and the platforming are just imprecise enough to be frustrating.
Really?
The hit detection seems off a little bit. And I know we were talking about this before where, like, enemy spawns are, like, way off. Like, way, way off. I've been recording most of my gameplay sessions. I'm going to put up a compilation of just, like, bad spawns. Because it fucking happens all the time. Where I'm walking through a narrow-ass hallway where, like, there's no chance that I missed something. And I get to the other end of the hallway, and somehow there's an enemy that spawns behind me, runs up, and gets a couple cheap shots. And it's just stuff like that. And so it's just like, and, if you play on the higher difficulties, it only takes a couple hits for you to die. Yeah. Like, it really is pretty, unforgiving in that way. And so, or... you're fighting, and you're focused on these two guys, and then all of a sudden, somewhere out of nowhere, off screen, a third guy just like rushes you from behind.
It's fucked up,
dude. It's just like it's super frustrating like that, and it's there are some spots where I had to because you can change difficulty at any time. There's like no achievement or trophy for like whatever finishing on certain difficulty. But there are certain times where I have to knock it down just because, like the cheap shots are just outrageous. Like, it really is so frustrating. But then, yeah, like the parry, like, and just the hit detection and the timing, everything seems like it's a split second off. And, you know, again, if you play on the higher difficulties, like, if you get hit a couple times, man, it's punishing. And to have to, like, go back and restart at the previous, you know, save point, or meditation spot, or whatever they call it, man, it's rough. And then the platforming itself, and it sounds like I'm shitting on this game. I actually really do like it. It's just there are some obvious flaws that I hope they fix for the next one. But then, like, the platforming it's not as smooth as Uncharted. It's not as smooth as Tomb Raider.
I figured nothing could be.
And you know? It's like, and it has this weird thing where, and I don't know why, it's not a huge deal anymore, but at first, like, when you grab onto a ledge, you have to hit L2 to, like, actually grab it. If you don't hit L2 as you're jumping, like, it's a timing thing, then you just fall off and you have to redo it.
I think they do the same thing, like the same type of thing in the Tomb Raider
do
games.
They?
Yeah, like where you're jump onto a wall and then you have to press a button to bring out your pickaxe to
maybe
grasp it.
And then, but like swinging from vines or like from ropes, it's just everything just seems off. I don't know how to describe it. I can't wait till you guys actually get your hands on it because I want to see if you guys feel the same way. And there are these things where, like, you're sliding down. It's almost like you're sliding down, like, these giant hills where you lose all control, and it's like you're sliding on ice on your feet, and it's almost like you're skating. And that, and then, you know, there's, like, one certain part where you have to, like, jump off the ledge onto another ledge, or onto a rope, swing from the rope onto another ledge. You know what I mean? And just the way everything just feels, we were talking about Metro earlier, everything's like, it's like you're on concrete.
Yeah.
And you just can't control it the right way. And I probably fell off this one ledge 5 or 6 times in a row, just trying to get to the right spot, like that. It seemed like that perfect pixel to be able to launch myself, to get to the rope, to get to the other side. And it's just like, on their own, those things aren't terrible.
Yeah.
But when you add it, just like, you know, the platforming and then the combat, it just all... I don't know if I'm playing it wrong, because I feel like I'm the only one that is having these issues. But it's just like... Yeah, I don't know. But I'll end by saying this. Like, Respawn, they have a very, very good foundation. Again, I don't know where the story goes or where it ends up. I'm assuming, obviously, they could pull a sequel out, whether it's, you know... a separate story or a continuation of this one, if that's where it leads. I just want them to... I really want them to just, like, pick an inspiration and just go with that.
Yeah.
Like, don't necessarily try to be everything. Like, if you want to be, like, a hard... If you want it to be, like, a hard combat type of game,
right,
where it's all about timing and parrying and, you know, then do that. Or if you want it to be a Tomb Raider... exploration Uncharted, then do that. Or if you want it to be, you know, or if you want it to be more arcadey, which I doubt they would do, or they would have done it this time, kind of like a Jedi Unleashed, or what was it, Force Unleashed?
Force Unleashed,
then do that, you know, but like pick something, and I think they would, for me personally, again, I think I'm on the outside looking in on this one, but I think it would be a big benefit because they would be able to make that experience more polished and iron out a lot of the bugs, iron out a lot of the wrinkles in gameplay that I think really do hold it back from being, for me, a top tier exceptional game. Because like I said, the story and the character, everything about that side of it, the lore, the look and the feel of the game, the sounds of it, it's all obviously like it's all Star Wars.
Right.
Like, it's 100% authentic. It's canon within the Star Wars universe. It's just I want them to tighten up the gameplay just enough to really take it to that next level. Other than that, after that, I mean, I haven't played anything else. I want to get back to Death Stranding after I beat this. I paused Death Stranding because I knew that I could knock out Star Wars in 15 to 20 hours and then go back and knock out the 60 hours or whatever for Death Stranding. Other than that, Persona 5, I'm chipping away at slowly but surely. I don't know if I'll ever finish that game.
I'd love to play that game.
You can get PlayStation Now. Get PlayStation Now. You don't need a PlayStation.
Oh yeah, forgot about it.
Yeah. All you need is a PC to be able to stream it to.
I don't even have one of those.
Oh, okay.
Laptop sucks.
No. But yeah, anyway, so other than that, I really haven't been playing anything. It seems like all the big releases are out for the year.
Yeah, I don't think anything's coming out. At least nothing that's on my radar is coming out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so I mean,
next
really,
year though. Woo.
yeah, that's what I mean. I want to get through everything now before, because if I don't finish Death Stranding by, I would say like
February, March.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll finish it by the new year. But yeah, definitely, I'll never finish it because once Final Fantasy, Cyberpunk. I mean, The Last of Us got
2.
pushed, but yeah, when that.
I mean, because it's just like first it'll be like Cyberpunk, then Final Fantasy, then that'll take you through to Last of Us 2, and then yeah.
Always forget about Ori, man.
I don't care about Ori. I'm not saying it's probably not going to be a great. I just don't care about it.
I know, but I do.
But yeah. But yeah, other than
There's
that,
another game coming out at the beginning of the year.
I just felt like
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is coming out in February, and I want to play that.
Yeah.
Isn't there any big January releases?
That might be January, but it's definitely before like the big two.
I tell you what, this is what we're going to do
Before
before the end of the year. So probably within the next couple weeks, we're going to talk about. We're going to do on our top 10 show. We're going to do our top 10 games of the decade.
We should probably do games of the year also.
But on this show, we're going to do our top 10. No, maybe not necessarily 10, but our top games of the year, and then we'll split it between top games of the year, and then obviously most anticipated for next year, and just kind of like look ahead, look back, look ahead.
Like an end of the year.
Yeah, like an end of the year review, kind of recap. The good and the bad. And then we'll kind of go from there. We'll plan on doing that here in the next couple weeks before the new year. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. What about you guys? Anything?
No, man, I'm gonna try to get through Subnautica. I'm kind of like in just that weird zone where I don't really know exactly what to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's perfect for me right now because, like I said, I can knock out a couple of games that I've been putting on the back burner. For the last several months. So.
But yeah, actually, Witcher 3 is coming out on Game Pass soon, so, and that's like one of those few big games I just never got around to playing. So I'm gonna try to play that.
Oh, the other game I haven't played. The other game that I'm gonna get is I really want to play Civilization 6 on PS4.
You'll be up till like 3 a.m, dude, without even realizing it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
I want it.
Although,
because
no matter what you do,
there's always
the world leaders will always call you a warmonger.
That's true.
No matter what, that's not even a joke.
I believe it. Because
other people start wars with you, you'll finish it. That's how I am. I'll finish the war.
Because I haven't played a
Civilization. You start the war, they start to like build up forces on your border, and then like they declare war and start to invade, and then you go and wipe them out, and then the other nations call you a warmonger. I'm like, what?
Just defending my land. But yeah, I haven't played. Civilization 3 was one I've put in most time without a doubt.
That's still my favorite one.
Civ 4 I played quite a bit of, but I didn't play 5, and obviously I haven't played 6 yet. I just don't have a PC that will run it. But yeah, I really, 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 really want to play that. So
it's fun.
I need to, but that's one of those games where you can always just pick up and go with. You don't need to. So, but yeah, Jedi Fallen Order, I need to knock that out. Death Stranding, and then probably Civ 6. But anyway, anything before we sign off?
No.
All right, guys. That has been this episode of the Save Point Vids podcast. It is Thanksgiving week. I forgot to say that at the top of the show. It is the Thanksgiving here in the United States of America. So happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Unless you're not from America, then happy Thursday.
Then happy Thursday for you. Hopefully it's a joyous Thursday. But yeah, give this video a thumbs up. I'm not above begging for a thumbs up and a sub. So, do that for us. We definitely appreciate the love and support. And as always, most importantly, please tell a friend to check us out. Also, you can follow us on all major social media platforms. All you have to do is search the Save Point Vids, at Save Point Vids. And if you don't want to watch it but would rather listen, just pick your favorite podcast platform and search the Save Point Vids podcast, and you can find us there. Anything?
No.
All right, guys.
See you guys next time.